Well, I want to welcome everybody to our Ignite podcast. And I'm excited today because we have not only a good friend, but somebody I always learn from, whether I'm sitting and listening to him speak or whether I'm listening to his webcast. But when it comes to social media, when it comes to building relationships online, uh, not only is there nobody better than Corey Perlman, but there's nobody that is able to teach it with a sense of humor that keeps an audience interested and engaged. So, Corey, welcome to the Ignite podcast.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. It means a lot to be here. Thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. And we were talking a bit prior to us coming on for this recording. Probably what most of the people in this country are talking about right now, and that's COVID-19. What does that mean? What does it mean to me personally? I'm at that season of life where, I didn't realize, Corey, I didn't realize I was elderly.
Oh no, you're not elderly.
I know it, but by definition,
My
um, but
definition.
hey, I don't, but it's all, you know, those are all numbers, right?
That's right.
So,
That's right.
but anyway, but we're all dealing with it differently as parents, as business leaders, as employees, and your engagement, with your clients across the country, as you have spoken for so many years. Tell us a little bit about your background. Then let's go into talking about how we can use social media to stay connected and really make things happen positively for employees as well as for leaders. So first off, Corey, a little bit about you.
Well, yeah, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, I will say that we had, just to be totally transparent, we had a completely different agenda for today, but I just feel like, and I think you would agree that right now, within the next 3 to 6 weeks, this is what people are talking about. So I think what we can do to be the best resource we possibly can to human beings around us, to be kind and be helpful, is what we need to do. And so that's what our job is today on this podcast. So thanks again for having me. I've in the digital marketing world for 15 years, speaking and consulting. I own an agency called Impact Social, and we do the social media marketing for other businesses. And as you said, I speak on the subject. So I go to conferences and associations around the world and talk about social media. I try to make it as interesting and engaging as I possibly can, most of which is just by making fun of myself, and that makes people laugh, and that's great. So that's what.
Well, what you do a good job I don't know if you do a good job at making fun of yourself, but you do a good job, not just as a communicator, but it's one thing to be a communicator. It's another thing to be able to teach.
Yeah.
And when I worked with John Maxwell for so many years, he always used to say, put those cookies on a lower shelf where people can really consume them, right?
It's a
And
great point. Yeah.
and so as we go into kind of this sharing time, first off, I just want our viewers to know to this video cast that Ignite Advisory Group is privileged to represent you as one of our top speakers, and we love being able not only to represent you and book you, but we really love getting the responses back from those that have had you on the platform and say, what a great uh, experience it was. So thank you for the opportunity you've given us to represent you.
It's
And
my pleasure.
so on this uh, whole aspect of COVID-19 and social media, we're recognizing that it is a different time. There's so many people working from home. Offices are empty, except for perhaps some strategic people that still need to be in the office, but most are at home. So there's a connection. How does a leader stay connected with his or her people? How do I mean, so there's not the Keurig coffee maker to go to and all be together in community within a company. So how do we maximize this time to come out of it? And we will come out of it not only stronger, but maybe even with deeper relationships and better leadership.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's going to be some silver linings to this, and I think that virtual Technology has been around obviously for a while, and I think that we have only scraped the surface of what we can do with it. And I think that a lot of people are going to take this time to learn about it and get better. And there will be things in the future that are going to cause us to not be able to get to places, and yet we can still conduct business. So I think that that's very powerful with this technology. I think, a couple things, Dennis, that I want to share with everybody of kind of like, what to be thinking about right now, what we're talking about with our clients, and hopefully it'll be helpful. And really, it's what to do. I had mentioned to you before the call, we've had to press pause. Most of us, whether you're watching this now, and hopefully we're kind of moving, into the play button time, but we've all had to hit pause for a moment of time here. And the question is what do we do now to when we hit the play button again that will make us better off then than where we started? And I think one of the big philosophies that we're telling our clients right now is we gotta try to be helpful. It's how can we support each other right now? So we are in a mode of scarcity. Everybody's scared. We don't know where payroll is going to come from. We don't know, when we're going to sell the next service or product. But coming out on digital and just all of a sudden pumping products and services out is not going to help. And so I think one of the big things that we have to do to start with is slow down, take a deep breath, and say, how can we serve? How can we help? How can we inspire? How can we be a light? Whether it be on social media, whether it be on email, whether it be video, is let's not freak out and start trying to discount our products and services, but instead let's be a resource. This is a long-term play, not a short-term play. If our clients and customers know that we are there for them, whether or not things are good or things are bad, that's building rapport for the long term, in my opinion. So we've been telling all of our clients, yes, we need to sell, and we understand that, but now may not be the time to do that. And now may be the time to serve. So how do you do that? Well, you think about creating compelling content and providing it in a digital way. And so Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn are our three primary platforms that we tend to focus on. Each of them have video platforms, Dennis. So shooting out video, whether it be live or pre-recorded, on helping our clients and those that we're just connected to navigate this crisis is very helpful. Whether you're a chiropractor, whether you're a real estate advisor, mortgage broker, how can you add value, be of service to me while we're navigating this? If I was in the mortgage world, maybe some different things that are coming out from the government on how to know how to be able to push back my mortgage payment or potentially waive it for a time, whatever the case may be. But you are on the front lines, so you know that kind of stuff. And delivering that out on social, delivering that out through email, delivering that out through your blog posts, but being a resource to your community via your social media and digital marketing tools is key right now.
I love what you said. One of the speakers that we have the privilege of representing is Tim Sanders. And Tim years ago wrote the book, Love is a Killer App. And the whole thing is about scarcity versus abundance, or abundance versus scarcity. And I think, and that's what you're talking about. This is a time for abundance to, whether you're, as a leader, as a company owner, not try to, the scarcity thing would be trying to discount, sell, fear.
That's
operating
right.
out of a spirit of fear versus an abundance that says, I want to serve you.
And even when you are, we said in the, if you want to put a timetable around this, first week or two, I mean, unless you're selling water and toilet paper, it's probably not a good idea to be selling much right now. But as this moves on and it gets longer, obviously, we are going to have to go from pure service mode to how can we support, how can we help you, and how can we be a financial, connection as well. And doing that in the right way versus the wrong way is important too. So I'll just use myself as an example. So I'm not out speaking on the road right now. So the chances of getting me to be able to help you individually like this is pretty rare because I'm super busy and I'm out traveling. But now I'm home and I have the opportunity to do more Zoom meetings with small businesses and individuals than I've ever had before. So I'm still going to offer value, But as we move forward here, how can I serve and still, be paid for my time in the best use possible? It would be by doing, virtual sessions with people at a very economical rate, because again, I don't have to leave my home, and I can do it right here, and I can do a lot at a time. So it's a win-win for both. And just being able to properly explain that, I think, is going to be key, to know that I'm not doing this because I'm trying to take advantage of you or do something like that. It's how can we do this together? How can it be a win for both the people that I'm connected with and, of course, me? Let's be honest, like we've got to have revenue continue to come in. I mean, it's important for everybody in that regard. So just thinking about our community first versus ourselves first is going to be key. A couple other things, Dennis, that I'm thinking about. Another way to serve our community digitally is to go out and engage with their content. So one takeaway I want folks to know is spend a block of time each day and go out on social without any intent to post, but instead to engage with other people's content.
Mm.
Like their page, comment on a post, share something. But your clients and customers right now are all concerned and scared, and they're all posting things on social, and are out there. And for us to drop a like or drop a comment or drop a share is going to mean a lot to them. And so that's one easy thing that we
Mm.
can help support them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. What about you mentioned Instagram, Facebook? How do we maximize each platform? How do we use each platform? And then there's a good old standby email, which we all get bombarded with. But what about each one of these platforms, and how do we maximize them?
Yeah, I mean, let's knock out email real quick. I think we've all seen the emails gone wrong. It's like, it's the heavy promotional email, or it's masked in sort of preparedness, whatever, and then whatever, and it sort of annoys people. I think it's the 80-20 rule. If I'm going to create an email right now, it's 80% how can I serve people like Dennis, 80%. And then at the bottom it's going to say, hey, if you want to work individually with me and I can help support you, let's talk about that. And so that's sort of my mindset when it comes to any digital marketing content, is 80% value, 20% promotion. Moving to the platforms, both Instagram opportunity for us to start to sharpen our live swords. So some of us have been fearful to go live, press the live button. Well, now's a better time than ever to get good at it. So maybe once a week or once every other couple of days, to let your community know, hey, I'm going to go live. I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can protect your home, how you can, if you are say you're a car, you're in the car business, so some ways to protect your car while you can't get it in for service. I don't know, but ways to
Hmm.
deliver value, and you can do that through a live format. And you may have to trip over yourself a couple times, Dennis, if you haven't done it before. That's okay. You're going to get better at it. And as I mentioned, when we get back to commerce and we get back to normal, you'll have live that you've been doing. You've got that as a skill set now.
Right.
Congratulations.
Yep.
That's awesome. And if you've been going live on Facebook, maybe now's the time to go try Instagram. And if you are more in the professional services world, you can apply to be a LinkedIn live broadcaster, which I've done, and I go live on LinkedIn. And so now's a great time to apply. You've got the time on your hands. So I think going live is a great thing to do, Dennis. And the other thing I would say is if you don't want to go live, any sort of pre-recorded video. So, if you're just not feeling super comfortable doing the live thing and you'd rather shoot video, maybe put some subtitles or transcriptions below the video, whatever you can do to do this,
Hmm.
face-to-face connection with your community, with your customers, with your clients is going to be critical right now.
No, that's great. I'm just wondering how much is too much. How often should we push something out? And maybe just on a practical, not only how much or how often, but when should we push out content? Is we always hear Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturday, Sunday, or what. So what's your recommendation there?
Well, we're in a new era right now, Dennis. All that stuff gets thrown out the window over the next 6 to 8 to 12 weeks that we're in this. We're all here. We're all connected on our computers. And I think we have more time on our hands than we've ever had before. There's only so many emails that we can shoot out to try to produce results. There's only so many phone calls that we can have. We've got a lot of downtime. The key is going to be, Dennis, it's less about overdoing the content and more about how you can really be of value. For example, I've got a private speaker group that I am connected, like a mastermind group. The leaders of that group are going live every single day for 1 hour, and they don't have much of an agenda. They're just there to serve. They're just there to answer
Mm.
questions and for us just to hang out with each other. And to be honest with you, bitch and moan, shed a tear,
Hmm.
bang our fists and be frustrated. And that's okay too, and just to be a resource. So as long as people don't think we're out there selling our stuff and we're really there to seek to serve, I don't think you have to worry about overdoing it, to
Mm.
be frank.
Yeah, I like that. And I think when you're talking about the emotions that we're going through, this is a time for us to become real, maybe take down the mask and say, you know what, here's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling fear. I'm feeling a little bit anxious. I'm feeling this. At the same time, it's an opportunity for us as leaders to listen, listen to what what are those that we're leading saying back to us. Maybe we haven't hit pause long enough to listen. And so how can, as a leader, we maximize this in a leadership role with our employees as well as with our customers?
I'm really glad you asked that question. My agency, we've been a virtual team for our entire existence. So that's ripe into our sweet spot. And I'll share a couple things that, not that I knew them going in, but that I've learned the hard way. Um, have these kind of calls with your team a lot. It's important to get on the horn face to face if you can as a team and talk to each other so things can come to the surface quicker and not get bottled up. It's hard, Dennis, when you're not next to each other at the office, to be able to sense when things are getting uncomfortable or a problem is starting to bubble up. And so you've got to almost force the issue a little bit. So we do lots of these Zoom calls with our team. I also have certain people involved on my team that have a certain specialty to the EQ side. So, for example, when it comes to being overwhelmed with projects and such, I have one person on my team that the rest of the team goes to for that particular issue. And then I have a conversation with her every week about overload management. And so she'll say, Stephanie is doing fine. Mary actually has room to take on a few more things. Mark is super overwhelmed. He just had 3 projects come on. And so we talk about that, and then she delivers some results to move everybody around to get everybody feeling good again. So having those different people in place, and it has to be their strength. So that person I talk to is super organized. Project management is her forte, and that's perfect for her. And then I've got another person on my team who handles just all of the conflict and just sort of just general tension and stress. And she's super high EQ and can handle that kind of thing. And so she bridges that gap between the team and her. She gets all that. And then she and I have those conversations, and then we have individual conversations with the team. So lots of communication, I think, is really, really important. And another one is have some fun with each other. So we don't just talk business.
Yeah.
Get on here and we socialize. We've had a couple of wine cocktail hours in the evening time. We've worked out together and had like yoga sessions. I mean, keeping the
You mean
rapport
like online?
online,
I love it.
virtual yoga
Let's see,
sessions.
I got to grab a bottle of wine here.
Yeah, exactly. We can start that, at the end of this call, Dennis. I mean, it's easy to say, but as Jimmy Buffett says, as you know, there's a lot to drink about right now. So, so yeah, but keeping it fun and light with your team,
Yeah.
and building some of that rapport is very, very important.
Yeah. No, that's great. We're talking a lot about the coronavirus right now and its impact on us and our business and that. But you've been a public speaker for a number of years. I'm curious. I'm curious, Corey. when you go out and speak and you're done and you walk down from that platform and you get back in the car and you head back to Jessica and the kids, um, what is it that you have wanted to leave with that audience, that if it's either a life changing or business changing, what says, you know what, that was a grand slam. I did what I set out to do. What is that you want for the audience and for the businesses that you serve?
It's an excellent question. I think that what it's really come down to, it's been since day one. It was when I first started doing this, I was teaching internet marketing to car dealers, and they were a tough crowd, man. But they were really scared
Mm.
about what this was going to do to their world of selling cars. And when I saw that light bulb go on, that they were like, "Oh, I can do this. I got this." That's a win to me. And to this day, when I talk about stories, let's say like Instagram stories, and people are like, and then I explain it in a way that they're like, "Oh, yeah, I mean, that's easy,"
Hmm.
or whatever it might be. And I see that just that level of security go up and comfort. That makes my day. So when
Yeah.
I can feel like that they left feeling at ease and less stressed and intimidated by digital than before they came in, then that's a win for me.
That's great. That's great. Well, Corey, you're a husband, a dad, a business owner, a public speaker, an author. Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of things going on. So, but what are you reading? What are you reading right now, or what would you recommend? Not just on the digital side, but what's helping you grow personally and professionally?
Well, that's another very interesting question in these times, right? Lots of time on our hands to read. Well, a couple of things I think that's just super important today. I mean, I'm a huge Dale Carnegie fan. So, he's got a specific book on how to deal with worry and stress, which
Hmm.
I think is just ultra powerful today than ever before. How to Win Friends and Influence People, obviously, is his flagship product, and that one to this day is tremendously valuable. Um, let's see, what else do am I reading? Oh gosh, I got my bookshelf here. Let's see. Let's just be real. Let's see which ones would that. Well, this is an interesting one. This isn't one that I've read recently, but changed my game a lot
Ah,
in the world, and it's the 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
yep.
Again, written many years ago, but really did change the way I do business. And he was talking about doing business via online tools and technology way before it was cool or common. So if you haven't read this one yet, read it. And anything that Tim Ferriss has got going on, I've always been a huge fan of. Let's see. What else do I have in here? Oh, here's another great one. Another one that changed my world was E-Myth,
Ah.
Michael Gerber, which any
Hmm.
business owner, again, another one that I just think, and I didn't even know you were going to ask this question, Dennis, but this is like getting me super excited because these kind of things really come into play now while we have the time, which is working on our business instead of in our business. He
Yep.
taught me. That's
Yep.
exactly what we just talked about today.
Yep.
Working on our business instead of in. So if you haven't read The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, that's a phenomenal one. So there's just a couple just to
Great.
get
Great.
minds.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, because I learned now. I need to go back to my bookshelf and
Yes,
pull a couple of books off my
just
shelf that
small.
I've read in. And I love, like you, I a lot of time with Dale Carnegie. In fact, uh, kind of an associate uh, teacher, in the Dale Carnegie courses years ago. But my favorite one is Act Enthusiastic and You'll Be Enthusiastic.
Amen to that.
And
That's right.
so that's a good one to wake up to before you put your feet on the floor in the morning, right?
Right.
But
Especially today, right? This
yeah,
week.
yeah. So kind of as we're going to come back again, and we're going to talk more specifically about Corey Perlman, the public speaker, and what that means to a company. But I love what you said earlier. This has been more about giving than getting. This has
Mhm.
been more about talking to the business owner, um, the uh, the mortgage broker, those that are watching this video, and perhaps down the road when we get ready to start connecting with speakers and getting them in for events, we're going to highly recommend you, Corey. But today has really been about, how do we use social media to stay connected with one another, to build relationships, and to come out of this together as a nation and as companies stronger than we went into it. So I really appreciate the input that you've had, the insights you've had. And before we sign off, though, I want to give you the platform. Is there anything else that I've missed that you've shared maybe in the last week or so with your clients that our viewers need to hear?
So, yeah, I would just say that, a couple of the action items to take with you, continue to build your network. I think it's a great thing to do while you have the time. Go out on LinkedIn. Are you at 350 connections? Are you at 550 connections? Are there people out there that you could serve down the road, that could serve you, that you're not connected with? So build that tribe bigger and better than ever, I think is great. How's your website doing? Is it got some issues that you haven't fixed in a long time? Is it time for a revamp? Are there some wording things that you can change on your site to make it more compelling? These are all things that we can do now that we have a little bit more time to work on the important, not urgent box that we're sometimes don't have time to work on because we're in the important urgent box, right? So, so I think that's those kind of things, working, getting reviews on some of your local directories like Yelp or Google My Business. If you haven't got a lot of 4-star and 5-star reviews, those are great places to maybe ask if there's, say, hey, I know, we worked together a while back. You may have a little bit extra time on your hands. It would mean the world to us right now. We're trying to build up our reviews, things like that we just might not have time for. And then, one other thing I'll just mention about, your business, Dennis, is speakers are figuring out how to conduct virtual presentations, and I think that is something that if any other speakers or experts who speak are thinking about, is getting better and more proficient about delivering your material over platforms like Zoom, like WebEx, those kind of things is going to be really important. So keep practicing, keep getting better at the things that are important to you. Sorry about the beep there, but
yeah. No, absolutely. I appreciate that. And our guest today on our Ignite video podcast has been Corey Perlman. Corey is one of our Ignite Advisory Group speakers, but more than that, as I said at the very beginning of this podcast, a good friend and an incredibly gifted communicator. And a good husband and dad. I get to follow you on Facebook and see some of the crazy things that you do. And I know that what you do as a dad, some of those crazy things translates to the platform. I mean, that's the humor, as you said. That's the kind of taking yourself not so serious, and
I
that.
get my best material from my children,
And people
about making
appreciate
fun
that.
of myself for sure. That, they'll give me that material.
But thank you, Corey, for this time. And for our viewers, I invite you to go to www.igniteadvisorygroup.com, where you can learn more about Ignite. But go to our speakers and learn more about Corey and his offerings as a speaker, because we will come out of this, and you are going to need a speaker. And especially on this whole subject of social media. And I can't recommend anybody better than Corey Perlman. So again, thank you for our time together. Corey, thank you for spending this time in the middle of a maybe not so busy day, but it's given us something to shave for, right?
That's right.
So, hey, thank you. And we'll talk to you again.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye now.